Welcome in. There are just some things that don't get old. And this beat right here is such a head nod. I love it. Are you ready to figure out how to intentionally create a tolerant free life? Well, you have tuned into the right podcast and welcome to Real Talk with Coach Sherri. This podcast is for everyone who craves self improvement and awareness. I'm most excited to connect with the over 50 crew because we are vintage and made up of complex experiences that has aged us like fine wine, which only increases our value each day. There's always room to learn and grow, so get comfortable and get your pen and paper ready to take notes and reflect on life's wisdom. Cheers to real talk and seasoned dialogue. Be sure to join the conversation down in the comment section. I love continuing those talks with you there. It is so great to see you. So, this workshop is designed to help you intentionally create a tolerant, free life. And trust me, I know that as you continue to live your life, there are some things that you will tolerate because of how things are evolving and how things are just falling into place in your life, be it with people, places, or things. But there are those tolerations that you do put up with that just sap your energy, distract you, frustrate you, use up your resources, or annoy you that you need to intentionally become tolerant free from. The most effective way to become tolerant free is to create environments, systems, and standards that make it impossible for those tolerations to come up in the first place. So let's break down the play for this process, all right? It's important to recognize first that there is a distinction between eliminating tolerations and living a tolerant free life. So it's two different things because some people think, oh, well, I'm just going to take it away and that's it. But we want to be tolerant free, meaning you could take something away, but it can always double back. So eliminating toleration just means that you're addressing issues after they've already become a problem, reactively fixing what's draining your energy, frustrating you, or holding you back. But a toleration free life is a proactive approach, and that involves intentionally designing your environment, habits, and systems in a way that prevents tolerations really from ever developing. Now, the end of 2024 and Happy New Year. We are in a whole new year. What? 2025. Ah, but at the end of 2024, I found myself in meetings where I had to reiterate that I personally prefer to be proactive rather than reactive because groups were bringing me in to kind of smooth things over, to put out some fires. So I had to let them know I'm more of a proactive, I like a proactive approach because I know that if I'm reacting to something, then it's a toleration that has been brought to me that is now disrupting my day, my flow, my life in some form or fashion. And I know that if I can be proactive by putting things in place, nipping things in the bud, developing standards and processes in the beginning, then I will have more peace and less stress. So that's one of my goals for 2025 is to shore up all of the things that I have control over and making them more standardized, creating that blueprint. So no matter who picks it up, they'll be able to figure it out. And it is going to decrease the things that I have been tolerating in the past. I want to ask currently, are you responding in a more proactive or reactive manner in your personal and or professional life? How are you? Are you responding proactively where, you're going in, you're not as bothered, you're not as stressed out, you're not as interrupted? Or are you being more reactive where you're getting that tap on the shoulder and you have to pivot and figure things out on the fly? How are you responding currently? All right, so listen, reactive is solving problems and being proactive is preventing them. So you really need to shift your focus because that will help you to move from simply managing tolerations to creating a life where they have no room to exist. And this is going to require thoughtful planning, consistent action, and a commitment to maintaining boundaries, systems, and personal standards that support your well being and productivity. As I'm sharing this with you, trust, I'm also speaking to myself because there are a couple of things in my life that I know I am tolerating, but have been building systems, standards, and boundaries to hopefully, again, and I mentioned this just a minute ago, hopefully in 2025, eliminate them because I am taking an intentional stance around them. And that's what I want for you to be more intentional with eliminating your toleration so you can live toleration free life. So, taking this process to the next level means digging deeper and identifying the root cause of the toleration before taking action. If you simply eliminate the toleration without addressing what allowed it to form in the first place, similar issues will just continue to come about. You will always see yourself kind of in the same spot. But by uncovering the and addressing the underlying causes, you will eliminate the source of the problem. And that will prevent future tolerations from developing. Now, this approach ensures lasting change and creates a stronger foundation for a toleration free life. And that is the point of this workshop, to create that intentional toleration free life. Now, a lot of this information, I know it is deep, and it's a new way for you to look at your life. It is looking at your life through a different lens. So I want you to have that open mind. That's why I always say have your pen and paper ready so you can jot down some of these key points and then go back and reflect on them. A lot of times people take notes, but they don't read their notes over. But that's how you grow. That's how things become part of who you are, how you move, is when you go back to those notes. So I want you to go back to your notes that you take from this Real Talk with Coach Sherri podcast, okay? So, these topics that I discuss in this Real Talk with Coach Sherri podcast, they are really some things that I discuss in my coaching sessions, be it my 101 or in my group coaching. So, I want you to feel free to leave a comment, to talk about your thoughts around this information. That's why I always say drop down in the comment section so we can continue that discussion, be it new information, or you may have an aha moment of from the information that you hear from me, where you know about it, you've heard about it, you may have done it in the past, but you put it in the background, and now it's time for you to dust all of that off and implement these new strategies for 2025, because I know I am too. So, one of the reasons tolerations show up in your life is that they often highlight areas where you need to grow, strengthen, or make changes. For example, listen, if you struggle with handling conflict, you might allow others to take advantage of you or avoid standing up for yourself to sidestep confrontation. Similarly, if your home is messy and cluttered, it could point to a lack of discipline or an emotional attachment to things you're afraid to let go of. Now, I had a client in the past that inherited the home of her son's father, and she found it very hard to remove any of his items, any of his items. I'm talking about furniture, clothes, pictures, papers, all of that. And she still placed her own items in the home. So the house became very, very cluttered. And it was really starting to bother her and make her lose focus. Things became foggy. Her health even started to be a challenge for her. And she was not able to move forward. And this was all because of the clutter. She had to come to grips and resolve within herself, get to the root of it, that getting rid of his clutter was not getting rid of him, because his memory would outlast any of those tangible items. And she took pictures of things. That was one of my suggestions, to take pictures of those things and create a book to put them in. And as she did that, she recognized, you know what, I don't have to hold on to this big piece of furniture or this relic or whatever. And she repurposed some of the things, donated the rest, and now she's able to move forward. Have a clear mind and consider her life beyond each day. And now she's working on a new career path and is so much happier. It's like night and day, I'm telling you. And that was only possible when she came to grips as to why she would not remove his things. Ultimately, only you can determine the real root cause of any toleration in your life, even in relationships, by just reflecting honestly and identifying what's beneath the surface. You can address the underlying issue and create a lasting solution that prevents tolerations from reappearing. If you don't get to the root cause, it is always going to grow back. So you have to get down to the root. And here are some reflective questions that I want you to consider. So take your time, write them down, and explore your answers thoughtfully. You may want to pause after each question or slow it down, rewind to make sure you have them, but don't answer them right away. Wait until the end of this workshop, this podcast, to formulate your answers. But the first one is, where do your tolerations reveal areas of weaknesses or growth that you need to address, strengthen, or improve? And I'll repeat them. Number one, where do your tolerations reveal areas of weakness or growth that you need to address, strengthen, or improve? And this is part of number one. What patterns or recurring themes do these tolerations highlight in your life? What patterns or recurring themes do these tolerations highlight in your life? Number two, what changes do you need to make, or what underlying issues must you address to eliminate these tolerations and prevent them from recurring? And the second part for number two, are there habits, mindsets, or behaviors that need to shift? Are there habits, mindsets, or behaviors that need to shift? Number three, what support or resources do you need to make these changes successfully? What support or resources do you need to make these changes successfully? The second part, who or what could help you, whether it's a mentor, coach, friend, book, course, or system? Who or what could help you, whether it's a mentor, coach, friend, book, course, or system? Number four, what specific steps will you take to seek out this assistance and implement the changes? What specific steps will you take to seek out this assistance and implement the changes? The second part, how will you hold yourself accountable for following through? How will you hold yourself accountable for following through? All right. Hope you have those down, because reflecting on these questions will only help you uncover the root causes of your tolerations and create a clear plan for addressing them effectively. You know, one reason why people allow tolerations to develop is that our culture often encourages us to suck it up and accept annoyances, inefficiencies, and draining situations as inevitable parts of life. Wanting things to be different is frequently dismissed as childish or unrealistic. Some people even believe that striving to eliminate tolerations and live a toleration free life is wrong. Can you believe that? They believe it's wrong, or the same as cheating. They'll even equate it or align it with cheating or giving up without a fight. Remember, have you heard that? You're just giving up without a fight. You just want to just lay down and just let them do whatever they want to do. No, you're tired of them doing whatever they want to do. And they may try to impose this belief on you and others. And if those are some things that you've been living for and believing yourself, then they've been very successful in imposing those beliefs on you. The truth, however, is that most of the things that annoy, distract, or drain you are tolerations, things you're putting up with unnecessarily. Whether you choose to address them or let them remain in your life is entirely up to you. It's your life, and you have the right to set the rules. The first step is just really recognizing that living with tolerations or choosing not to is a decision only you can make. And here are some reflective questions to help you challenge your assumptions about tolerations. Number one, and these are going to be two-part questions as well. So, number one, what tolerations are you putting up with because you've been led to believe it's unreasonable, childish, or unrealistic to think you don't have to? Isn't that crazy? What tolerations are you putting up with because you've been led to believe it's unreasonable, childish, or unrealistic to think you don't have to? The second part to number one, are there specific situations where you've dismissed the idea of change as impossible or impractical? Are there specific situations where you've dismissed the idea of change as impossible or impractical? Number two, who taught you or influenced you to believe that tolerating annoyances is simply a part of life? Who taught you or influenced you to believe that tolerating annoyances is simply a part of life? And the next part is, was it a cultural norm, a family belief, or advice from someone in your past? Was it a cultural norm, a family belief, or advice from someone in your past? And I'm also going to put someone in your current life, a new person, because you may have some cultural norms that you have been led to believe, maybe in your workplace. You may have started a new job and are learning the lay of the land in the new culture. Number three, what evidence do you have that this belief is true? What evidence do you have that this belief is true? The second part, can you identify real concrete reasons why these tolerations must remain? Can you identify real concrete reasons why these tolerations must remain? Number four, what evidence do you have that this belief might not be true? What evidence do you have that this belief might not be true? And are there examples, either in your own life or others, where similar tolerations have been successfully eliminated? Are there examples, either in your own life or others, where similar tolerations have been successfully eliminated? Okay, so we often follow the example of people that have been tolerating things, but what about those that stop tolerating those things? I want you to really reflect on those questions because they can help you uncover limiting beliefs and open the door to new possibilities for creating a life free from unnecessary tolerations. And once you've identified the root cause of your tolerations, whether they stem from a personal weakness or a false belief, the next step is to cultivate a toleration free mindset. And we talk about a lot of mindsets and things like that and the shifts of your mindset and whatnot. But this is to have that toleration free mindset. And this involves shifting your focus from merely solving problems as they arise to proactively designing your life in a way that prevents those problems from developing in the first place. By adopting this forward thinking approach, you create an environment where tolerations just have no room to take root. Now, a key part of this process is simply believing that living a toleration free life is possible. The next step is believing that you are capable of making it happen, that you can intentionally create environments, standards, boundaries, and systems designed to streamline your life and eliminate tolerations before they even come about. Finally, finally, it requires a willingness to reevaluate every activity, choice, and system with fresh eyes. Listen, we are in a new year. It's time to open our eyes to see this new year as something fresh and new. And this means questioning the way things have been always that things have always been done and seeking the best, most frictionless way. Now, we don't want to get into fights, arguments. It should not even cause any challenges like that. So you want to look and see how you could do the most frictionless way to approach them, even if it means stepping far outside the norm. These approaches should not cause conflict, argument, or strife. The biggest obstacle is to become completely toleration free, and that is breaking free from the constraints of how things currently are and envisioning how they could be instead. This shift in perspective is essential for creating a life that is truly free from unnecessary tolerations. And here are some reflective questions to help you explore the possibility of living a 100% intentional, toleration free life. Now, these questions are really deep. They are really deep. So, I again encourage you to have your opinion and paper, your pen and paper ready. All right. But you may want to pause this podcast between each question to make sure you get them down again. That's with all the questions. You may need to rewind and pause, stop, slow it down, whatever you need to do. So the first one is what changes when you truly consider the possibility of being 100% toleration free? What will those changes be? What will change when you truly consider the possibility of being 100% toleration free? And the second part of number one is, how does this shift your perspective on what's possible in your life? How does this shift your perspective on what's possible in your life? I had to get some water. Number two, what thoughts or beliefs arise when you imagine becoming 100% toleration free? Ooh, you should start to feel lighter and your energy should really go up. It should give you something to look forward to. But I want you to come up with that on your own. What thoughts or beliefs arise when you imagine becoming 100% toleration free? And the second part is, are there doubts, fears, or limiting beliefs that surface? Are there doubts, fears, or limiting beliefs that surface? Number three, how would you need to change mentally, emotionally, or behaviorally to adopt a 100% toleration free mindset? How would you need to change mentally, emotionally, or behaviorally to adopt a 100% toleration free mindset? And the second part for number three, what habits or thought patterns would you need to let go of or develop? What habits or thought patterns would you need to let go of or develop? And number four, think about a specific toleration you're trying to eliminate. What assumptions are you making about the situation and any related systems, environments, boundaries, or standards that you've accepted without question? Think about a specific toleration you're trying to eliminate. What assumptions are you making about the situation and any related systems, environments, boundaries, or standards that you've accepted without question. And the second part of that question, are there givens in situation that you've never challenged? A given could be anything that you would tack on the phrase, you know, it is like it is what it is, or that's how they are, or that's how it always has been. Are there givens in the situation that you've never challenged? And again, a given could be anything that you would tack on this phrase, like it is what it is, or that's how they are. That's just how they are. Like you're supposed to just accept it because that's just how they are. You can accept it, but that still doesn't mean you have to tolerate it, or that's how it always has been. And that's how it's always has been, maybe something, especially if you're starting a new job, moving into a new community, or just joining a new family, whatever the case may be. You may hear that. And I actually have a number 5 as a reflective question, and that is, what shifts when you realize you have the freedom to completely redesign the situation and any related systems, environments, boundaries, or standards from scratch? What shifts? What in your world, your life, in your side of you? What shifts when you realize you have the freedom to completely redesign the situation and any related systems, environments, boundaries, or standards from scratch? You can start over. You can write your own narrative. The second part of number 5, how does this realization empower you to take action and create a better solution? How does this realization empower you to take action and create a better solution? Reflecting on these questions can really help you uncover hidden beliefs and assumptions while opening up new possibilities for redesigning a life free from unnecessary tolerations. Whew. I'm trying to tell you, I know that this is a lot to dig into and uncover, but once I get to the point of my channel of my YouTube channel, because you may be listening to this on different platforms, but once I get to a point on my YouTube channel where I can have memberships, I am going to set my membership up like a group coaching session. However, in the meantime, if you're looking for one-on-one coaching support, you can email me at info@coach-sherri.com to do an initial consultation to see if we would be a good fit and if you would like to move forward with my coaching services. Because a lot of these things that we've gone over, not just today, but in previous podcasts, sometimes it's good to have that coach, that accountability partner outside of your normal circle to help look at it from a different point of view, an unbiased point of view, a point of view from the outside, not the inside, to help you through some of those challenging thoughts or emotions that you may be experiencing. I will have my email address in the description box if you did not catch it as I was sharing it with you. But always know that when doing anything in your life intentionally, it involves deep reflection, strategy, and developing new habits. Creating a toleration free life will be an ongoing process. Regularly reassess your life for new tolerations and apply what you learned in this workshop, in this podcast, to maintain a smoother, more effortless lifestyle. That's all I have for you right now. It's been my pleasure sharing this information with you and these strategies. I hope that you were able to get a nugget. And if so, let me know what it is that you heard that you are definitely going to implement. What is that thing that you heard that gave you that aha moment of like, wow, I forgot about that? What are you going to do with this new information? And please be sure, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with your family and friends. Don't be the only one in your circle getting better. It's been my pleasure. I am Coach Sherri.